This video will help you install Invisifold sliding doors correctly. We recommend watching through the entire video before starting installation. Step 1. Measure and prepare the opening. Remove any loose debris and cement. Step 2. Levelling the sill. With a spirit level or laser, find the highest point of the opening and level through the sill section with packers spaced every 300mm. Take time when levelling the sill. This will aid the installation of the sliding panels and the glass later. Silicone the packers down so they don't move. Check the sill fits correctly and that it remains level. If you are not using the projection sill, the base will still need to be levelled with the packers in the same way. Making sure the base is flat and supported across the frame is very important. Before fitting the sill, run a line of expanding insulation foam along the opening and packers. This will compact when the sill is installed, and then it will harden for support. Lay sill in position and run a continuous bead of low modulus silicone along the back edge of the sill and across each end. Step 3. Frame installation. Place the bottom of the frame on the sill and then fold in the top. When located, there should be a 5mm gap at the top and both sides. You can gently tap in a wedge on each side to ensure the gap either side is equal. The first fixing hole is 150mm from each corner. The remaining fixings should be in line with the mullions on all the sliding panels. Extra fixings should be placed behind each landing gate and brace at both the top and bottom to support the weight of the panels when in the open position. Use the spirit level to ensure the frame is level. You can use some chocks under the door that is pre-installed to tilt the frame until level. Carefully prepare the frame with pre-drilled holes into the frame and masonry. We recommend using a countersink to ensure the screws sit flush. Doing this will ensure a better finish. At this time, only fix the base and the jambs, not the head of the outer frame. Start screwing from the outside and work in. When inserting screws into the middle of the frame, use a level to ensure the frame is straight and not bowed. Use a level to make sure the frame doesn't dip anywhere. This rail has to be precise, and the screws can make the PVC flex. Now mark the jambs of the PVC frame, ensuring that the screws will grip into the centre of any bricks, not into the mortar. Then, as before, drill all the holes to prepare the edges of the frame for fixing. Do not drill into the masonry yet. Check the level of the frame using the door as a stand and some chocks and wedges to bring the frame into the desired vertical position. Level. Insert 5mm worth of packers each side to ensure the frame is straight, and use the level again to ensure the frame is level and square. Pre-drill holes into the masonry now the frame is in the correct position. Once the first screw has been inserted at the top, check how level the frame is and adjust if necessary. Insert packers to bring the frame in line and to allow for the 5mm gap either side of the frame, as the screws will pull the PVC. Check here for bow. Finish inserting the rest of the screws and repeat for the other side. Level. Mark the frame at the top 300mm apart, making sure the screws will take on the other side. Only pre-drill holes into the PVC, not the lintel at this time. Step 4. Sliding sash installation. Place the top of the sliding panel into the frame, making sure the pivot post and Euro guide are behind the aluminium rail. Flex the top of the outer frame so that the pivot post and spacer skips over the rail and moves into position. If you are unable to install the sliding panel this way, you will need to remove the bottom pivot post, as you will need to do with each subsequent door, as shown here. Step 5. Bottom pivot post reinstallation. After removing the bottom pivot post, place the sliding sash into the frame. Refit the bottom pivot post, starting with the adjustable slots. Do not over-tighten the screws. Slide the panel so that the pivot spacer is locating in the landing gate. Tap the top of the pivot post so that it moves down to the bottom of the pivot spacer and hits the base of the landing gate. Then continue to replace the other screws, ensuring that the bottom is in line with the pencil line marked during fabrication. Do not over-tighten the screws. Step 6. Securing the frame into the lintel. Once your first sliding sash has been inserted into the frame, slide it towards the landing gate and then drill your first fixing through into the lintel. Ensure the top of the sliding sash lines up with the 8mm coverage line. Use a straight edge to ensure it lines up across the length of the frame and secure with fixings. Use packers to ensure the 8mm coverage line meets with the top of the sliding sash across the entire width of the frame. Step 7. Checking pivot post and new Eurogroove HG clearance. Slide panel into the first landing gate and brace. Carefully open the panel, ensuring that the pivot spacers are touching the hinge stops. Check the top of the panel to see if the coverage is correct, where the quadrant meets the landing gate, and also the coverage on the new Eurogroove HG. This will exit the second landing gate. The edge of the HG should glance the outside face of the landing gate as it exits. If the coverage is not correct, do not move the pivot post. To achieve the correct gap, adjust the frame head. Release the screws behind each landing gate and adjust the head of the outer frame using packers to reduce the gap. Retighten the screws and check the gap. Repeat until the correct gap is achieved. For repeated sliding panels, repeat the steps above. The only difference with the subsequent sliding panels is that the pivot spacers will contact each other and not against the hinge stops. Step 8. Glazing of the first sliding panel. At no time should the sliding panels be toe and heeled. Start by inserting bridge packers in the bottom corners, top corners and the middle of the frame. Insert secondary packers at the bottom and place glass into the panel. Insert a packer in the bottom left before inserting a packer on the right. Check to see if the packer inserts easily. If so, go up to the next size packer. Flex the side from a third of the way up, insert the packer and remove the glazing shovel. This will compress the packer between the frame and the glass. Pack the top side, repeating the process from the bottom, but at this time do not pack the top. Slide the panel into the landing gate and brace until the pivot spacers contact the hinge stops. If the pivot spacers do not make contact with the hinge stops, either top or bottom, the panel requires balancing. To balance the sash to the left, pack the top left solid and lift the bottom right. To balance the sash to the right, pack the top right solid and lift the bottom left. After you have balanced the sliding panel, you must pack solid the opposite top corner. Insert packers top right to ensure the glass cannot move in operation. The sliding panels should always be packed in all four corners and in the middle to prevent the glass from moving. Secure by using low modular silicone. If the pivot spacer on the top and bottom don't touch the hinge stops at the same time, it will be necessary to rebalance the panel. Step 9. Prime door glazing. Ensure leading edge of primary door does not clash with the pivots top and bottom. If it does, panel should be toe and heeled as per normal door installation. Eye bolt adjustment. The sliding panels have adjustment screws for lateral adjustment. This will help make sure the primary door shuts correctly. These adjustment screws are located top and bottom of each sliding panel. Adjust when needed to ensure the latch engages with the primary door. Removal of film and testing. Make sure the door cavity is clear of any debris and use a high grade of silicone spray on the Teflon pads to aid the initial movement of the sliding panels. Trim wedges to fit the frame correctly. Remove packing protective tape and add retaining strip to the doors. Add trim to top and bottom. Use expanding insulation foam on the inside of the frame, on the inside edges.
Shutterstock music.
Check the doors slide and open correctly as shown. If they do not, adjustment must be made. Try to re-follow the previous steps. If no fault is found, please contact us.
Shutterstock music.